Settle in a little bit. Getting ready to talk about the development of the people. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about. Last thing I'm going to talk about. I remind you, Brother Almost will be taking over next week to get really in depth on a couple of things regarding Kemet. And it's important to go over some basic things because you can't get to the complex stuff without dealing with just some simple stuff. Some real simple things. So that's my job, is to set the stage for him. And I encourage everyone to do that too. When you know someone has talent, go ahead and validate that person. And boost them up, man. When they win, you win. You see what I'm saying? That's why when Sister Sankofa came in the building, I immediately knew we're going to figure out a way to get her right here. There's too much wisdom over there. All right, development of the people. So I'm talking about the people of Kemet. The reason why I decided to kind of corner out this particular subject area is because when we start talking about their great accomplishments, you kind of want to know how they did it. Like, what was their mindset, stuff like that. So I kind of went into reading about it, and I discovered they asked themselves several questions. Now remember, this is 5,000 years before any Greece. So here's what I need you to do. Take about 2 or 3 minutes, and I want you to answer these questions right here. What is man's nature? Oh boy. What kind of being is man? What is the essence of his or her being? And when you say myself and yourself, define self. All right? Take about 3 minutes to do that. Those 4 questions right there, and then we're going to deal with some stuff. What is man's nature? What kind of being is he? What is the essence of his or her being? When you say myself, yourself, define self. What is a self? I got to get myself together. What am I talking about? And we're going to view it from the people of Kemet's viewpoint. We'll take a look. We're going to go nice and slow, if y'all don't mind, so we get things in order. So again, when Brother Almost comes, it's not even going. For another minute. And of course, there's no wrong answers. You know, whatever you define it. That word define is an interesting word too. Things happen when you define something. Corresponding. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Yep. Hold up. Give it another 30 seconds. Don't forget to let me know when it's 8:20. 8:20. Ready? We good?
Good.
Okay. All right. So now, right before we get to that, we're going to deal with the self-image, the identity, the potential relative to man from the Western European view. Western European view. We have to look at this because we grew up and we were raised, right, in a Western European type of culture. The statement right here, self-image determines the nature of a group's culture and technology or advancement. How you see yourself determines your path, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So growing up in this culture, what kind of self-image did we adapt? How do we see ourselves? Self. How do I see that? In the Western view, he sees it in twofold. he's animalistic, and he's logical. And I'm gonna kind of go Urugu real quick. Watch out. Right? So now, I'll give this a little bit of context. This isn't the full context, it's a little bit. When he says he's animalistic, one part of that is he's emotional, he thinks. He thinks emotions are bad. Emotions aren't a good thing. You need to deny your emotions. Right? Separate yourself from your emotions. That's what it means, partly what it means by animalistic. Now, if we examine that, let me tell you who he thinks is animalistic. He thinks women are animalistic. And I'm talking about Plato when I say he, and everyone who adopts to that Platonic philosophy, which America does. America believes in patriarchy. America believes that the man is the monarch. Woman, you get in your place. Y'all with me on this? Part of that comes from how he sees the woman and how he sees emotion relative to himself. I don't need to be a part of that. I'm logical. I use mind. Are y'all with me? So now patriarchy is born because he thinks women are emotional. He thinks emotions are bad. He doesn't think emotions are a part of intelligence. That's not his viewpoint. That's not his viewpoint. He also thinks foreigners, people, or I'll say the other, not him, but the other people, like black people, you're animalistic, you're too emotional, and you need to be controlled by a higher mind, the logical side of you. Since you're incapable of doing that, I'll do it for you. So when he comes and sets up his relationship with you, it's a power over relationship. We're together, but I'm authority over you. Right? You're subject to your emotions. You're not capable of being logical. So I got you. Not only do I got you, you reach your highest point under my guidance. That's where he's coming from. So how he views himself, how he views man affects you, affects women, affects other countries. He doesn't deem them logical and intelligent, but prone to this, so let me invade. But I can't call it invasion. Let me bring democracy to you. Let me civilize you. Let me Christian you. Right? We're going to go more into that when we get to, this is why we have to deal with our history first before we go into all of this, so we can put it in proper context. But, so when he establishes a relationship with you, it's power over. And if we look at how America is set up, we see a lot of that going on. Even real simple, college football. Fellas, y'all like college football, right? Yeah. Ever notice it's always the white coach and we're always the too much. Defensive player. They don't give us the logical, intelligent positions. No, you run this ball up the field. I remember Sir Diop told me, he's like, man, my son ain't gonna run 1 yard for this anyway. Listen, they'll teach you now. I was kind of into the sports thing, and he was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I kind of had to think about it. I was like, yo, you're right. But the power over relationship, he takes authority based on his logical thinking. He thinks he's logical. Everyone else is dealing here. He's the higher of the lower. Y'all got it. Remember that picture in the beginning? The brothers are holding your boy up. He's logical. We're animalistic. Holding him up. I'll move on. So now another thing they do, they judge themselves based off their perceived talents in their environment. Some of us do this. If we don't see a talent, we don't think we're capable of doing it. No, I'm not talented at that, so I'm not going to deal with that. I don't see any kind of whatever. And then it's even worse when someone else sees it, but you don't see it in yourself. Several people have told some of y'all that y'all are so talented in certain areas. Not exactly the way to think, but at least you have some talent in there. But you don't see it, though, so you kind of, I'm going to go over here. Maybe you should revisit some stuff. That's just me throwing that in there. I apologize. But he limits himself based on talents and his environment. And he judges you based on talent. If he doesn't see it in you, and this is going to be important in 1 second. If he doesn't see it in you, you don't got it. You're not capable. And some of you see others in yourself. If you don't see talent initially, you're not capable. And that's not true. That's not true. Have we dealt with this pretty good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So remember, self-image determines the nature. So we see what kind of path. As soon as he defines himself as this, and he defines you as this, corresponding energy and action come along with it. Y'all see that? You're not capable, so now I must dominate you. Whole different. All right. We'll come back. We're going to come back to that second half of the course. All right. Now let's deal with, make sure y'all can see, the African view, specifically from Kemet. He's more three-part. Three-part. Animalistic, not necessarily in a bad way. It just needs to be aligned with his other parts so he can be in symmetry. Now with me on that. That makes sense? Rational, he's a thinker, but also this part right here. And I want you to understand it doesn't matter what spiritual system the African takes on. He's always believed, he or she has always believed they're connected with God. It doesn't matter what spiritual system it was. Yes. They've always taken this standpoint, I'm one with God. Yes. I'm connected. Y'all with me on that? Yes. Relative to Kemet, self is talking about the divine part of you. Or asar, right here. Y'all with me? And what the African wants to do, not power over, they want harmony with. I want to work with you. Cooperation, not competition. Not me versus you. That's not the way they did it. It's not me versus you overall. Overall, there were some issues, but overall. Right? We don't get to that. You know, like for instance, Kemet kind of destroyed Tassel. That wasn't exactly cooperation. But that's okay. We're not talking about that. But I'm trying to really set the tone here with this harmony with, so that you also understand that when the Europeans came over, our people didn't readily see the danger. Because we're talking about harmony with. Yeah. So what you need? I got you. Oh, you need this? Here you go. When you came to kill the Swahili empires, you came to kill you were a foreigner, they came out to greet you. They had gifts. They said, what do you need in our city? We'll supply that for you. No questions asked. The hospitality. They come from a harmony with type standpoint. But what does he come with? Power over. So then you see what happens when power over meets harmony with. Right? So this is where we're coming from. Right? Man is made in the likeness of God. And African always believed this. Always known this. Let's get more. God's traits, or the Creator's traits, reside in man as his or her essential qualities. My essential qualities, my power, those are God's traits in me. So when people come up to me and tell me the kingdom of God is over there, and the kingdom of God is over here, I don't pay attention to that. Because the kingdom of God is in me. Come on. So you look here. Here. When you really break down education, Dr. Supreme Understanding breaks it down, it really needs to bring out of you. Because it's in here. And if you think about it, that's how a seed works. Everything of the tree is right there. You just got to get the right condition, plant it, and it just comes out. Right? So to me, the African was more in line with how the world works, in my opinion. That's me. Right? Also, God manifests instantly, man manifests through time and space. They recognize that we're the same substance as God, but just not the same degree. So when God works, it's instant. Boom. When we work, we'll get the same result, but it's going to take a little bit of... That's why all the motivational speakers tell you not to quit. You stay with it. Because all it takes is time. In space, we're talking about conditions. Not limiting conditions, but you create the conditions. And anytime you create, you're just like God. Ye are gods. That's how the African viewed themselves. That's how the people of Kemet viewed themselves. And you're going to see the type of accomplishments that they achieved. Am I saying that right? The things that they achieved, you're going to see why. Now you know what it is. They see themselves in a certain way. Then let me get to this. Can y'all see this? Man's ability to know, do, and become, or achieve, is unlimited. I'm one with God. Ain't nothing impossible to me. Give me time, I'll set the condition, and it's done. Every time. We need this teaching in our school systems with our kids. Right? And then I'm checking out in middle school. I don't want to pay attention. This African issue ain't got nothing to do with it. That's what he told me Sunday, y'all. I don't want to hear that. I said, brother, I know. Listen, you'll get it in a few weeks, though. It'll come alive in you. I'm planting right now. It'll come alive in you, though. But yeah, so this last line. So everything the African does, especially people of Kemet with their system, everything they do comes down to this. Based on all of this, they develop institutions. Based on this, they organize. Based on that, and they engage this world based on their divine image, the divine self. Imagine if you started to step out here, if you already aren't doing it, and you stepped out based on your divine self, and you engage the world based on that. I think we'd all have different outcomes if we did that. But then if we take on that other European thinking, and we adopt this mentality about ourselves, too emotional. Now, I'm not saying emotions don't need to be harnessed, but emotions can be part of your intelligence. There's been many times where your logical mind didn't understand, and you thought it was okay. But something in here was like, hold on. Hold on. Right? Use that intelligence. They say deny that intelligence. I'm encouraging you to use that based on what the ancestors did. Are y'all with me on that?
Yes.
So we come to all this. On the divine side, the asar, the self, right? Then they combine this particular self-image and how they look at themselves. Then they start to go into their educational system. They start to add on top of that all type of stuff. I'm going to ask y'all to do me a favor. It might be a little much. I want you to write down every one of these. All of them. All of them. And they learned all of this. All of it. Then as you're writing it down, I want you to compare to what you learned when you were in high school, even college.
All of it.
What did you learn? What's being taught to our children now, and what did you go through when you were in the educational system? Did you get all of this? And that's just a little bit. And this brother right here gets real detailed on some philosophy relative to our teaching. Stolen Legacy. This is a thorough book. This is a thorough book. Thank you for the mints. And then to give you this while you're writing. This bottom line right here. Students called neophytes, they study for how many years?
40 years.
40 years. You banging on them books. 40 years. Thorough. We start taking a look at the things they accomplished. You're going to say, you know exactly why they did what they did. Why they lasted 5,000 years. As opposed to in a couple weeks, America's done. Y'all got it? I'll wait. We're going to wait. I'm sorry.
You got 4 minutes.
4 minutes until 8:20?
Yes.
Hey. That time goes quick. Is it okay if I go forward a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I have notes next. Yes, I do. Okay, so this is the writing part. Bear with me. It was so much, I didn't know how else to deliver it to you. So now I'm going to get into just a little bit of their accomplishments. Almost going to take it next week. Y'all going to come for almost, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be thorough. All right. So now, just for an example, Pharaoh Den, back in the Old Kingdom, had a medical background, conducted medical studies on bone fractures. Remember, there's no x-rays back in this time. No x-rays. There's an Edwin Smith Papyrus, one of 10 Kemetic texts, and it gives an account, there's a question on your sheet, I believe, it gives an account of 48 cases of bone surgery. This is thousands of years ago. They're doing bone surgery and external pathology. It also gave detailed knowledge on anatomy, surgical lesions, and describes the treatment needed. Your people doing this. No x-ray machines, none of this modern technology. And let me talk about modern technology relative to doctors. 8th leading cause of death in America, medical mistakes. Know that next time you check in. 8th leading cause of death, medical mistakes. That says to me, you don't know what